So today we're going to talk about getting more out of your licensing for 365 instead of paying for licensing outside of it for other functionalities. Two examples that I always mention to my clients are Microsoft Bookings and Microsoft Shifts. If you have a team and you want to be able to have people schedule time with you, I like it for my technical teams, but you also have teams like HR teams. They want to schedule interviews because bookings works with internal the organizations or also external that are not on your tenant at all, which is great. It's a shareable link outside of the company. So it's an app, it's web based, and now it's also, you can have it on your mobile phone as well or tablet. You have automated emails. You can allow the people you're scheduling a meeting with to cancel or reschedule. It's pretty good. Um, so you also have that right in front of you. It goes on your calendar. You have day-to-day look. The other thing is you already have it. Like I said, mentioned it with. It is already available with your subscription for 365. If you have an A1, A5, E1, E3, E5, F1, F3 license, it's there. It's already embedded in there. And the other thing we're going to talk about today is Microsoft Shift, uh, which is more of it's an app that you use with teams um, that helps with scheduling time within teams for mostly I recommended it to a team that was internal that wanted to have the managers be able to manage their team schedules, so they knew who was off and on for tech support. It's right there. If people were taking time off, if you wanted to flips, shifts to people, great tool for that. So getting into Microsoft Bookings, this is how you get to it. So go to the Honeycomb, click Bookings, and then you get into that. So to get the bookings from your tenant, the Honeycomb. And remember, you have to make sure that the admin has had it turned on, or it's not going to be there. I don't think it's one of the default ones that usually pops up first, but here you go. It's right here. You gotta go here, and there it is. Okay, so we're just gonna run through creating a new booking page. Let's see. And then you can add a logo. Let's see what I can find. Oh, my logos. Here's what it is. Right here. Add the logo. Choose a business type. So you have the healthcare, recruiting, IT support, education, financial services, sales, and other out of the box. So I'm going to select IT support. And the default business hours from 9 to 5, but I'm going to change this to 6. Right. And then, since my demo tenant has my husband and I, we share it and add him as a resource. So we add as an administrator, a team member, a scheduler, a viewer, or a guest. And next. So the initial appointment type service is the business type that you selected when you first set up that booking page. And I'll go ahead and change that later. So here, choosing who could book appointments. So no self-service means that you have to use the app and not the page. So that would mean usually when we lock it down, you want to just your team use it, and then managers to add people, appointments, that kind of thing. That's what you would use. But the default is people in my organization. So anybody in your domain on your tenant if you leave that selected, can book an appointment on that booking page. So for this example, I'm going to use anyone. It's just like show you the personal booking page is external. Anybody can come to that booking page and select those services that you set up an appointment or a meeting with you. So we'll create. Shouldn't take that long to spin up. The other good things to know about this app are it does add these appointments to your calendar if you are set up as the staff member it's assigned to, which is good. Um, Here is the link that was generated, and that's the public link you'll share. We'll go back to that later. You can always go back to that. So get started, and that'll take you to this is Booking Central. So if you're the administrator of the person that's added as a person that can contribute to this page, you can do your work in here. This one thing I did notice, and I'll get into that. So let's go down the left side first. So booking page link, again, you can change this configuration anytime. Is it searchable? Messages for your page for data collection, the usual GDPR stuff. Your default scheduling policy. What are the time increments? What's the lead time for the meeting being created? Allow customers to choose a specific person for the booking, that kind of thing. Customizing your page, and you can change the color theme. So I can change it to purple, which is my business color scheme. Or you can go in and put an HTML code if you want to. Display your business logo, which the logo that I added when I first set this up. Okay, let's close this and go over to save that. Of course, it reminded me to save. Go to customers. So you can add a new customer here if you want to, if you already know who you're going to be interacting with. Outside of here, outside of your organization. You don't have to, because when you set up bookings here, you can also set them up there. So you can enter this information here, the basic information, and this as well. Is that again? Your staff. So I selected my husband and I as default staff, but you can add new staff. You can search for people in groups. And you can add a guest. Right, so services. Let me go back to this again. So say I want to change this, I'll change it to one of my core services that I provide. So SharePoint training. Okay. Add online meeting, which would be Teams. You can add a location if you want to. So my usual training session will be an hour. That and you can set a price, your hourly rate if you want to. My hourly rate is $6. You can add notes that only your team can see, not the external person. You can let the customers manage their own appointments, so if they want to cancel, they can cancel it, whatever. I'm going to do this. I'm going to uncheck this, and I'm going to check myself as assigned staff. And I'm also going to availability options. And so say I want to just block it off like this. I'm going to delete these days and only have Wednesday and Friday available. And I'm only available from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. for training session. Say. And then this is cool because so say I'm traveling or something and I know I'm not going to be available for my general one. I can go in and say, I'm going to be at a conference on this date and that date, and say, you can't book me because I'm going to be away if you want to. So I'll save that. All right, so we got that. So this is one thing I noticed, and I think it's a bug, but I'm not sure. I like to report to Microsoft that I haven't thought about it yet. So if I go to the calendar and I do a new booking, so say you notice that I marked off that this particular service is only available on Wednesday and Friday. So I'm going to go and select Thursday. And I'm going to say, hey, let me book the time with Nikki. It's time. And it says I'm available. Now, it shouldn't say I'm available because, I said that I wasn't, blocking off time on Thursday. There's no available booking. So on the back end, I can do that, but I'll show you something else. So I'm going to discard this for a second. Discard the changes. And I'm going to go to my booking page and I'll go to my link here. So this is my page. And if you look, lo and behold, that's blocked off the correct way. I mean, it's not available for that service to be booked on any day. You can't. No availability. But if you do it from the back end, it allows you. I think that's a bug, and I don't know if Microsoft thought about that or not, but I'll report it at some point. So let's go back to the booking page. Okay. So, general stuff. You can go change your logo anytime you want. I've changed my logo maybe 3 times over the last few years. That's my problem. Integrations, like I spoke about earlier, Power Automate has a connector now. So there's some things that you can do with your booking data if you want to shoot this data in other places in a list or archive like your appointments or store that data somewhere, because again the 120 days, that's the cutoff for having that historical data on this. I'll get into that later in another video once I play around with it more. Um, so again, you can add other services if you have it. Um, and then after somebody books with you, you're going to get a meeting request. If they cancel, you're going to get a meeting of that as well. And the person that you meet with, like I said, when you go in and book it, and you add a new service, it will be sent to them as well. And also, I'm going to do this. You could take this embed link, the iframe, and copy this, right? So I'm going to go to my SharePoint page and add it. I'm going to go add a web part and down to embed. Pop that right there. And boom. So if somebody comes to my site, they can go put all the information they want to. Now, the other thing I don't like is so if you're using this booking page for people internally to the company, it doesn't allow you to use a people picker and say, uh, you know, they're already in the system. It adds them as a customer per se. So I don't so much like that. I mean, that can be something they can add later. Maybe they'll get into it. Who knows? Okay, so that's the basics about that. Again, if you want to save on licensing, you don't want to pay for another license outside of the tenant that you already paid for. This is a good thing to use. I mean, it works with Teams and it works with Outlook. You can have your meetings all in one place. You can have your team see the same thing. You can lock it down so that only your team can see it. It's a very good tool. I do like it. I do think there's some enhancements that can be made, but you know, I guess they'll get there at some point. All right, so now let's get into Shifts. Shifts is integrated with Teams, not so much a standalone app. Um, it's available with the same licensing model, and that's what I kind of geared that team that I was mentioning earlier that was trying to schedule their teams attacks for appointments to use instead of bookings. So I've gone in and created a new team so I can start over from the beginning and add a new shift. So again, make sure that your admin has installed this before you try to find it because you won't find it. All right, so I'm in the app. I'm in this team and I'm going to add group. So this group is what you want to kind of use as a bucket for whatever task that we're working on. So for technical projects, I will say, so you call this, um, say office hours. I must add myself. Husband is a member. And remember, when you create the team, you have to, anybody you want to come in here or use this team and also use this shift that's associated with the team, make sure you add them from the beginning and you build it. And that keeps it locked down to who you want to have access to utilize this whole thing. So, in the example I was giving, it's a technical team that does installs of equipment. They want the manager to be able to be the owner of the group. So the managers will be the owners, and the members will be the people on the team, and they will go on here, and they can create shifts for them. So I'll see office hours for me would be. I'll change it to pink, and I'll have a custom label and say shift. Shoot. And set a noun for it. You can add a note, and I'll say Tuesday I'm available from 2. I'll be working on it from 2 o'clock to 5. So in that block of time, somebody can come in and grab me for um, that. And then you can further break that down to activities. You put a break in there. You can put unpaid breaks. You could put in a specific task that you're doing within this shift. I'm gonna save that. And then I'll say George is his shift for is gray. And for that day that select the Wednesday, I'm gonna say he's doing training. And he might do 90 minutes. And it'd be between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. So somebody could come in and go, hey, you know what? Within this window of time, I could come schedule 90 minutes with George. That's his office hours. So you can add that shift for any part of the week for office hours and block it off for the entire week, and that's the schedule. And then you go and share that with the team. You can also clock in when you start working. You also, which is good, which was like what they wanted, like for people trying to schedule time off. So you could go a new request. You can ask to swap a shift. You could offer to select a shift, and you could block off time off. And then you send that request to the owners of this schedule, and they have to approve it. So that's kind of what they were asking for. So I was going to custom create a Power App to do all this for them, and I was like, I think that there's something available, and I kept looking, and then shifts popped up. So I think they're using it and they love it. So there's one other thing that you can utilize. I think there's some automations that you can add under this as well. We can get into that another time. So share with the team. You share with the team that's within this, the schedule for the week. I think you go in and do as many weeks as you want to. I'm not sure how long it's stored. Cancel that for a second. The other thing I did notice about this is that it does not go on your calendar. So I saw somebody recommend that you actually take Power Automate and just push that to your Outlook calendar. That could be another video another time, and we can look into automating that as well. So here you go. We got Microsoft Bookings and Microsoft Shifts, and you didn't pay anything outside of your licensing. Little setup, and it saves you some time. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.